Welcome everybody to another installment of Nain's Shorts here in the boxing area, Physique Magnifique, the home of the bladed mind, where, well, we come to learn. That's essentially what this place really encompasses. You have professionals from all walks of life under this roof sharing what they have. And ultimately, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to share the process that I've kind of come about so far, the questions that have arisen as I go through my training. Because as some of you may know, you may be new to this. If you're not, again, thank you very much for continuing support. And for those who are new, please like and subscribe, share the video if it's something that you think people need to hear, or if you just want to annoy somebody, because I'm told I could be rather annoying. So either way, please share. But again, for those who are new, and a little bit about me. I started martial arts late in life. I was 28 when I started. I'm 36 now. That's 8+ years ago. I always loved martial arts, and I always had one idea of it because of Hollywood and everything that they portray. Kung Fu flicks, that was my jam. Bruce Lee, all that. But once you kind of get into it, there's a lot of misconceptions that slowly start being peeled away. And I like the idea that they are peeled away because it really does take a good instructor to pretty much put you on the right path to understand what it is that's actually happening and what isn't happening in the process of learning martial arts or practicing martial arts. And there's these moments where you try something and you work at it, and you seem to be improving, and I emphasize the word seem, because you are progressing, but it's not completely comfortable, it's not 100%, and then maybe 6 months, or in my case, sometimes a year, 2 years afterwards, there is a phrase, there's a word, there's some comment that somebody makes to your instructor, maybe another instructor, that says it a different way, and it clicks. Light bulb shines, and all of a sudden you have a complete and utterly new understanding of something that you've been doing for a long time. Those aha moments, those inspirations, epiphanies, or just moments of clarity for those of you who drink. To finally realize you were doing it wrong the whole time. And why do we do that? Why do we go so left field? When you think back at the lesson and the way that it was given to you, any particular lesson that you may have had trouble with, that may have taken you longer to understand, it was set out pretty clearly. Or at least in my case it was. I honestly think back at the verbiage that was used when I was given a particular lesson. And they said, okay, concentrate on this and focus on this. So what would I do? I would do none of that. I would just focus on the movement. Refine. But have no actual concept as to when and where to use it, or why I would even use it, or why am I even developing this way. I was never told, go home and hit a tree 300 times, but yet I did. Now, is there some validity to what I did? Yes, definitely. There is repetition that is involved in all kinds of training. In any sort of physical activity, there is repetition, but repetition without purpose, without thought. Can you really become better repeating the same thing over and over again without there being any actual change? Where does that change come from? Is it a variation of your positioning? Is it a variation of the partner that you're playing with, the instructor that you happen to be in front of? Or is it your perception of it? Because this conversation started off with the idea that once you click, once you get that little piece that you were missing, and the world seems to open up and the possibilities just become endless for that particular lesson, not even in entirety, but just that one lesson. How does that open things up? And What was missing? Why couldn't you get it back then? For me, it was conceptual. It was a mental process. I was waiting to be told what to do instead of actually taking the time to think about what I should be doing and why I should be doing it. And that's my pitfalls. Can you guys think of any moments where you had a lesson that was clearly given to you and shouldn't have been misunderstood, but yet it took much longer to actually get proficient at it? What were you missing? What was going on? And how do we then share that with our students, with the next generation, so they don't fall into those pitfalls? And we talk about self-improvement all the time, and this show is really about that. But once you get to a certain point and you do have a responsibility of maybe not opening your own school, but maybe helping your instructor teach the next generation, teach the next class, and bring up everybody to a level where now you have a room of black belts, legitimate black belts that can now work off each other, can grow, can expand, can focus on their own way of doing things, and then learn from each other. It took me years to finally get to a point where I can look, say, a new student. And even though I'm doing my best to get them to understand, and I want to emphasize that, get them to understand the lesson. I know the lesson. And apparently, based on this conversation, I don't know the lessons very well. But I know them well enough to give them to someone else. And more importantly, I'm careful enough where I want to give that lesson to that individual, because I had many, far too many situations where I seriously did not understand what was actually being asked of me. Now, if it continued more than once, well, then maybe my instructor really sucked. And maybe he's gotten better since then, and that's why I've grown as much as I have. Or maybe he's getting the support from me now, so the students are growing that much faster because he might talk too much. Who knows? I'm not saying any specifics. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about. But the point is that there is always growth to be had, whether you're on the instructor side or on the student side. And for those of you who are full-time instructors, when was the last time you had one of those clarity moments? One of those, oh crap, you mean I could have done it this way this whole time, but I wasn't getting the lesson? I still kept doing it the way I was shown to do it, and it hasn't grown, it hasn't evolved, it hasn't become more, it hasn't become me. Because ultimately, that's all you have is you. Regardless of how good the instructor, or in some cases how bad the instructor is, it's what you do with the information that really then becomes useful or not. And here we are, trying to get as much as we can from every moment, because we're all busy. I mean, what we wish to do and what we're capable of doing, not the same. And again, like I said in my last episode, I wish I could train a lot more, but I simply can't. I got other responsibilities. And who knows, maybe training more wouldn't give me a deeper understanding of things. It would just get me better physicality. It would just give me better cardiovascular health, better shape. But ultimately, it's what I understand. And the biggest reason why I say this, and I say this confidently, is not because of me, but actually because of my instructors. Because of the people that I've spoken to that are grandmasters. Because not only do I learn what they're capable of, I also learn what their limitations are. I learn about the surgeries that they've had. I've learned about the shortcomings and the troubles that they've had in life and the issues that have come up and the things that they've overcome. And still to practice, to grow, and to be legitimate badasses in what they do. It's not that they've spent 20 years practicing the same moves over and over again. Is that they understood something fundamental, something that allowed them to take what they learned and make it useful. And that's not something an instructor can really teach you how to do as much as they can help you understand, so then you can choose to do that later on. It's a personal thing. It has to be. Some lessons we really cannot teach people unless they experience them themselves. God, I can't talk. And that's the point. For some people, it may take 8 years to finally start seeing the light, let's say the truth behind the lessons themselves, the things that are going to help you use those lessons in the real world, in real time. And sometimes people are a lot smarter and it takes them 1 or 2 years, or maybe they just have better guidance, or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, I do believe that we should be pursuing some greater understanding. Sure, we know the curriculum, but is that all there is to it? What about the people that know the curriculum backwards and forwards but are still training daily? Why are they doing it? Is it because that's all they know how to do, or are they looking for something deeper, something that we maybe can't put into words just yet? You see great practitioners, and they can do their art phenomenally, and they can do things that we could only dream of doing. But can they get somebody else to reach that level? Then you have instructors like some of these old grandmasters that I've spoken to, and even my instructors, who, medically speaking, are broken. But good God, I would not want to cross any one of them. I've been on the receiving end of some of them, and it's not the techniques that hurt. It's them. It's how they use them, when they use them. It's the corrections that they've had to make, the adjustments because of they have a new hip or a bad knee or a slipped disc or whatever the case may be, or simply just because, hey, I don't have the energy to be here and go toe-to-toe with you, so I'm going to finish this in 5 seconds. That is not taught. But those are the moments that they had in their own personal lives where it just made sense. And what a great thing to look for, to pursue, for things to make sense, for things to click, for us to feel comfortable because we get it, because we understand. Knowing, and I caution, knowing that there is still so much more to understand. There is still so much more to learn. And that's where I find myself now. I can understand a little bit better. And sure, it took me 8.5 years to get to this point. But I also know how much more there is to learn. Or, I take that back. I don't know. I have a pretty good idea of how much more there is to learn. And I'm probably wrong. But I'm confident enough to say that. Because that means that there are years to come for me to do, for things to try, for lessons to receive and expand and grow and ponder. And maybe even more Nain shorts to share. Because it's a continual journey. And we're barely at the surface. My instructor said if from the tip of your finger to the top of your shoulder is the scale of martial art, right? The martial arts, this is the top of the top, this is the beginning. He finds himself somewhere around that white part of your nail. Yeah. Danny, shout out to you. Because he's the one who said it. And at the time, I didn't quite understand exactly what that meant. I thought, okay, he's just being humble. You know, he's very kind of low key kind of guy. He doesn't want to be recognized, but it wasn't the case. Now I better understand it. Again, that moment of clarity finally clicked, where now I get it. There is an immensity of things that we don't know. And as much as we do know, as confident as we are in ourselves and in the knowledge that we possess, by comparison, it doesn't mean diddly shit. I know I was supposed to say squat, but it sounded funnier this way to me. Because it really is insignificant, the amount of information that we have, and yet we hold on dear to it. But we shouldn't hold on so dear to it that it, well, makes us a-holes, then nothing else exists outside of that. Because that is very easily done. I was heading down that road myself. I know my shit. My shit works. It may not. Depending on the situation, depending on the moment, depending on what I'm using it for. Am I confident in what I know? Definitely. Am I confident in what I don't know? Even more so. So here we are, still learning. Hopefully I have many, many more moments of clarity, many more inspirations and light bulbs going off left and right. With my track record though, it's probably like once a year, because it takes a while. But it's fun either way. Hopefully you guys do it a lot quicker and you reminisce, and maybe you're inspired to once again seek those moments where you just, everything clicks and the universe opens up to you. I know I say that, but it really is that feeling. At least it is to me. It's euphoric, and you love the art so much more all over again. You know, love is better the second time around, they say. But in this instance, every time you have one of those moments, you literally find that art again and again and again, and you're inspired and you feel excited all over again, and you just want to keep on going. You want to keep pushing harder and reach different limits. Dude, that's an awesome feeling. So I hope everybody gets that for the rest of their lives, moment after moment, before I go though, one last thing. This weekend coming up, it is the Kali Konversation Guest Appreciation Picnic. It's the 23rd of July, Saturday. It will be in Golden Gate Park. Look on Facebook for all the information on how to get in and out, because it's San Francisco. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It is open to all the guests. If people want to sneak in, I'll look away, slip me a 20, and I'll make sure nobody finds out that you were never a guest on our show. But we will see you there. So thank you very much for joining me on another one of Nain's Shorts. Till the next one, as always, 3, 2, 1, cut!